Welcome to the channel. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Join me on today's video where I follow up from the unboxing on the Pagani Design PD1674 with the full review. Remember to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can stay up to date with all the latest reviews, and I do hope you guys enjoy the review. Thank you for watching. So as you guys remember, I did the unboxing on the Pagani Design PD1674 not too long ago, and now this is going to be following up with the full review on the watch. Now, as you can clearly see, that this watch is homaging the Blancpain 50 Fathoms watch. Now, there have been a fair few homages to this. When I say fair few, a very limited few. I think top of my head, I can recall that Reef Tiger have done one, Korju have done one, and also I think a brand called Octopus that I've seen on AliExpress. So there's not too many of these watches out there. So here's Pagani's offering their own interpretation. This is from the line of new Paganis that are coming out. So the prices have increased on this new batch as well. So what we're going to do is throw it on the table. And yeah, it's still working. So let's go through specifications, dimensions, price, etc., and then start looking at all the smaller details, etc., on the watch. So the specifications are as follows. You've got a 316L stainless steel case with the bezel, crown, case back, and you also have a domed sapphire crystal. As you can see, you've got a ceramic bezel insert, and the watch, as you can see, it is a bit different in terms of the movement. This is an open heart movement, so it uses the Seiko Epson NH39 open heart movement. The movement itself is exactly the same as the NH36 or the NH35. You've got a 24 jewel hack and wind capable movement. You don't have a date function, however you do have a sub dial with the 24-hour format at the 10 o'clock, which you can see right there. It's got the same beat rate of 21,600 vibrations per hour, giving you that 6 tick a second sweep, and an accuracy of plus 45 and minus 35 seconds a day, although they do run a lot more accurate than that. So this watch, on the water resistance, it actually has 200 meters of water resistance. Now, am I mistaken in thinking that this is Pagani's first watch with 200 meters? I think it is actually. So dimensions, you've got a 44mm diameter case, and you've got a log-to-log of 48.5 and a thickness of 14.8 approximately, a 22mm log width, and an overall weight on this strap of 97 grams. So it comes on this sailcloth nylon style strap. It's quite a comfortable strap actually. But here, this is what we have. Now, I also had one in the blue, so I'll take that out. I'll go between both as and when I need to. But we'll put the blue one to the side right now. Box, as everybody is well aware of what Pagani Design boxes look like. They are switching between the two, the one with the flip lid and the one that you just straight lift off, but the contents remain the same, and this is one of the reasons why I actually really do rate Pagani Design, because of that consistency they do keep. So what's on the wrist? I've got my Merkur Ocean Master, and I've got it on this really nice bracelet. Quite a difficult watch to find a bracelet for, I'll be honest. I think the last time you guys saw this, I had it on a beads of rice, but I decided to take it off. I will leave a link in the description for this bracelet. I did get from AliExpress. The links basically are like the Seiko Samurai, but the end links, they're straight, solid, very, very nice bracelet. Some great detailing, brushing with some nice polishing between the center links. And they do actually come with a milled clasp, so I will link this, but it seems to fit this Merkur really well. Anyway, back to the watch in question. So price wise, this watch will set you back around £110 or $150 US. And now the reason why the price is significant on these new range of Paganis, and there's a lot of people talking about them, is Pagani have traditionally bought watches that were well below £80 and well below £120, etc. So, you know, for them to jack up the prices a little, I think people want to see something really significantly different. So I've looked at a few of the new releases, and I think at the end of it I might do a quick summary between them, talking about whether or not the price difference, you know, has it translated through to the watch or not. So of course, as you can see, this watch does come with something which you can't get your eyes away from. It's that open heart movement. and you can see there is quite a bit going on the dial. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a closer look and let's literally walk you around the dial and all the features of the watch, and ultimately at the end we'll do a quick summary where I'll tell you my opinion and my thoughts on the watch. Now, when you first look at the dial on the Pagani PD1674, there is quite a lot going on. It's very shiny. There's a lot of polished surfaces on the dial, and there's quite a lot of features present on the dial. So you do really need to get in closer just to really understand what is going on. So this particular dial is a black sunburst dial. Now, regardless of the color option, all the dials that are used, which is basically just black and blue, are all sunburst. Now, as well as a sunburst dial, there is a bit of detail around the outside of the dial. So you've got these concentric circles which seem to be engraved all the way around the dial. Now you also got printed features, being the logo at the 3 o'clock, Pagani Design, automatic 200 meters above the 6, and right above the 6 o'clock marker you've got Japan movement. That is the only printing in terms of large text or logos. You've also got a printed chaptering which goes around the whole dial, and you've got applied hour markers. The hour markers are a mixture between batons and triangles. They're all applied and highly polished with the lume applied in the center. Now the dial has been detailed actually really well. There's no defects to the naked eye, and also just look at these concentric circles that go on the dial. They are done again to quite a high level, and they do give the dial another dimension. Now with in terms of the indices, they're polished to a high level as well, so the detailing is done to a good quality. Now the handset on this watch is a sword style second hand which have been skeletonized, and you've got a red tipped second hand which does match that red small hand on that sub dial at the 10 o'clock. Now let's turn our attention to the open heart movement that you can see on the dial. It takes roughly about a third of the dial. You'll see a silver polished frame which surrounds the open heart movement and the sub dial at the 10 o'clock with the 24-hour date format, and that red small hand on the 24-hour sub dial. Now the movement here, you can see it ticking away, and that is the beauty of open heart movements. Now although you'll see these open heart movements on a lot of dress watches traditionally, and Seiko put them on the open heart premier versions and the Presage cocktails, which it does really look nice. It's probably misplaced on this watch. However, it does allow you to see the intricacies of the movement and the heart ticking away, which is quite nice to look at. Now let's check the lume on the watch. Now this watch has been under some LED lights for quite some time, so you can see the lume here. You've got a bit of a bicolor lume going on, so you've got some BGW9 and C3 around some of the hour markers. Now yes, the lume, I'll be honest, it is still quite poor, but it's probably the best it has been from a lot of the watches. So let's give this a bit of a UV blast. So once we do hit it with a UV ray, there is actually a lot of potential. You can also see that the small hand on the sub dial is also loomed with BGW9. So only if they increase the amount of layers they use on the dial, I think this is a major improvement which Pagani needs to do. But overall, with some UV, it does actually look quite good. But out of that, on a normal day-to-day, it won't last long at all, and you get a very, very dull glow. Okay, so let's just give you guys a quick look at the blue. As you can see, still some blue sunray. Basically the same thing, just with blue. Okay, now let's turn our attention to the bezel rotation. So as I mentioned, it is a ceramic bezel inset, although it does feel quite plasticky. Now it's a 60-click unidirectional bezel. Let's go ahead and have a look at the rotation. So it does align when you pull it back, and needless to say, there is a bit of back play, but not back play, it's got forward play in this case. So it does move a back click forward before it actually clicks. So you've got this much play in the actual bezel. Now you also got a slight bit of lateral play, but not only that, you do have a little bounce here. So quite a poor bezel design considering the price as well. But we know this from Pagani. Again, I keep saying it's consistent. Yes, it's consistently poor. But I do like the fact that the bezel is actually loomed. And it is trying to stay faithful to the 50 fathoms with this sort of curved bezel. Now, the machining, you got these little mini scallops. They're not sharp. It's actually been done well. You've got fully brushed bezel here. Now moving on to the case, you've got brushing down to the lugs, linear brushing, which is actually done to quite a good level. It's quite fine. There's no coarseness there. Now we've got to clean the watch actually before we do the next part. Let's just go around the actual case. And again, you know, you've got that traditional case shape of the 50 fathoms. So again, done to a very, very good level, highly polished. Crown guards are nice and small, and you do actually have a very nice crown with some really nice machining. Good grip. That's the winding of the movement. Now, because this doesn't have a date function, it's just one click for the movement to hack. Yeah, the bezel does rock quite a bit. Quite a poor bezel in hand actually. Does take away quite a lot from the watch. So there, you're free to set the time. Click it again. It's in. And just screw it back down. So the threads on the crown are good. You know, the functionality of the crown is good as well, and the case overall finish and build quality is very decent as well. Let's turn it over. You can see the exhibition case back. You've got some markings here, water resistant, 200 meters, etc. Stainless steel, Pagani design, and in very, very small lettering, you've got the model number PD1674. Now, I mentioned this watch does come with 200 meters, and I believe it is probably the first watch that gives you 200 meters of water resistance. So, you know, it's good that they are trying to improve and just add that. Whether or not they've actually tested them, who knows. So the strap, now the strap, again, it is quite faithful to what the watch is, that they are homaging, and it's actually a very nice strap. It's one of the nicer things about the watch. So it's a mix between a leather and the sailcloth type of material. You've got a slight bit of padding along the top, and you've got some contrast grey stitching. So a very nice strap indeed. It doesn't taper. Let's just double check that actually. So it's a 22mm strap. Sorry, it does taper down to 20 millimeters. And on the buckle, you've got Pagani design, brushed, engraved. Very nice looking actually. And you've got two keeps here. So let's put this on the wrist. Let's see how this 44mm diameter watch does actually look. So for my 6.5-inch wrist, I'm actually using the last hole there. And it still is a touch loose, but I think with this fabric strap, it actually is okay. So 44mm. Now, when it comes to diameter, my limit is 44, 45, and lug to lug is 50. Now, this is well below both, and the thickness is okay as well. So dimensionally, it's fine. You know, it is going to be a big watch, and it is going to stand out, but you know, it's lightweight. It's well under 100 grams, so it gives you good wearability, good comfort as well, and overall the design, the aesthetic, obviously it's homage in the 50 fathoms. It's a very popular homage. Now let's summarize on this watch now. So as people have rightfully pointed out in the actual unboxing of the video, that open heart section totally does destroy the dial and the watch. Pagani are homaging, you know, some very iconic, very popular brands, so at least they should kind of stick to that. I get why they've probably done it, and you know, for the future, or if it was a dress watch, it's probably a good thing that they are experimenting with different Seiko movements. You know, the open heart movement isn't as cheap as the NH35. However, it's in the wrong watch, and it's a dive watch. To me, they have totally kind of destroyed it, and for a lot of people made it very, very unbuyable. So having said that, you know, the detail is there with Pagani, and it's things like the loom and the bezel which really do let them down. The dial is done to a very high level. The polished, you know, hour markers are immaculate. So is the printing, and there's no defects there. The actual bezel itself is nice. It's done well. The case finishing, case quality, crown, everything else is absolutely fine. It's just the function of the watch. That's why I say, you know, Pagani watches without a rotating bezel are the best for, you know, the value for money side of things. But yeah, so the bezel, too much play on that bezel. They really need to improve that, and it is possible because they re-released that PD1661, the sub, with a much better bezel, and of course they can improve on the loom. The numbers that they buy in, it really shouldn't put the cost back, especially if they are charging around £110 for these Pagani models. So that's my summary on there. And let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I know a lot of you subscribers have already written this off, as a no-go, and I can definitely see why. So that's me on this Pagani PD1674. Thank you guys for watching as always, and I'll see you on the next video.